Go ahead, hit us. The least favorite
All
transaction.
right. So the least favorite transaction is actually one that never happened.
Yeah.
So this dude, he was in my very first year of real estate as well. And he came through as a Dave Ramsey ELP lead. And at the time, I was still relatively new, but the gentleman who was kind of assigned to the Dave Ramsey program at the team, he goes, I know this guy from church. And he said, like, I don't want to work with him. He's
Hmm.
like, he's a nice guy, but he goes, I know too much about him that it's best if I don't work with him. And I didn't, fire up any red flags because he didn't make it sound as bad as maybe I just did.
Okay.
But I was new. I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
not turning down
Yeah.
clients, right? Especially, this guy had a price point of, I was like 450,000 or something like that. So I'm like, yeah, hey, yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Well, he wanted, and the dude was in his 60s.
And this was back when
So
400,000 was a lot of money.
Right, right. So he wanted something that had 2, 3, 5 acres, and I'm thinking, why do you want all this space, dude? You're not young. How are you going to take care of all this? Well, because he wanted that much space and he didn't want to be near anybody, we were driving all over the place
Mm.
trying to find him a house. And we made a few offers on houses, but ultimately financing didn't work out. And that was the thing with him was his financing was never secure, I guess.
Mm.
It was
Okay.
always questionable. I'd have to call up his lender, and they're like, nah, he can't do that. Because he did have several things in his background, such as a divorce, and the home that he was going to have to sell was actually in his ex-wife's name. So there would have to be a quitclaim deed to get all that done.
Mm.
And so we're just driving all over the place. And, we'd go see shit. There was one time, I swear we went to somewhere way out west. Greensburg? Is that no? That's not out there. Greencastle.
Greencastle? Yeah.
Okay, we went out to Greencastle, and we went way like to Shelbyville on the east side in one day.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh. We
Yeah.
went down to Bloomington and far out Martinsville, and I was like, oh my gosh. But my hope, because I didn't have a ton of clients, again, still
Yeah.
new at this.
Yeah.
Uh, so driving all over the place, and then I wouldn't hear from him for 2, 3 months. Okay.
Mm.
He and I worked together for over a year. And then ultimately, he and his fiance, girlfriend, I'm not sure at the time, got in a huge fight. One of them went to jail. And the next day, it was like, we need to be done with this because, you know, we're breaking up and I can't take this anymore. And then I fired him after a year. And so we were done. His
Mhm.
girlfriend contacted me after that. She's like, I feel so bad. We put you through a lot. She said, I'd love to pay you, some money, because obviously you've driven a lot of miles. I'm like, coincidentally, I do keep track of miles when, with clients and where I go. I had driven in the year's time over 1,000 miles with those two, and she did not pay me.
So she
So
offered and then did not actually.
yep, yeah, off. It did not. Actually, there's a funny story that goes along with all of that. So we got to a point where we were going to attempt to sell his house, and like his main source of income at that time was breeding like specialized cats that looked like little leopards, where he claimed he could get $5,000 to $6,000 for these cats.
Mhm.
So when I walked into his house to sort of give him an idea of what he might get for the house and what he might fix up and whatever, the house reeked of cats because like the entire downstairs was these, I don't know, I think there were like 6 or 7 uh specially bred cats in their own cages. So the house
Jeez.
just reeked of cats.
Mm.
Terrible. Uh we sent a photographer to the house to take pictures because we were going to list the house. And when the photographer got there, the dude answered the door in his underwear as if he had no idea that anybody was coming. Uh, Photographers calling me up like he's not here. We're like, what's going on? Like, and so I'm calling. I go, Jeff, go answer the door. So yeah, answered in his underwear.
His
Like,
underwear.
oh my gosh, dude.
Wow. Yeah. And a thousand
So yeah,
miles in a year. Yeah.
transaction that never happened.